you so much for joining this channel. So we already started one series of developing agentic AI solution and also the explaining the concepts of Microsoft AI agents. So we are right now in day 5. You can see you already covered day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And if I just give you a recap of day one is like a moving from semantic kernel to AI agents. Day 2 is on the persistent agent of the Microsoft AI agent. Day 3, adding business tool for Microsoft agent, persistent agent. And day 4 was response pattern. And day 5, since we discussed day 2 and day 4, two different pattern. One is persistent pattern, another one is response pattern. There is a need to understand the right agentic architecture, when and where to use. So this is a specific session only to discuss the difference of these two pattern, how to use, when to use, in which business scenario we can use. That we are trying to put a light on this. So quick recap. So persistent is always, remember, it is stateful. You have a thread, you have a conversation continuity using the thread, you have agent ID. And when I say response pattern, it is stateless, fast, single response, no memory, no thread. Same stack, no difference. Azure CLI, Azure Foundry. We are using hosted AI agents over here, using Microsoft AI agent. The difference already we discussed in the day 4 also, but it is a specific for this too. So let me discuss. So these are the the KPIs or the indicator which will help you to understand the matrix. Memory, persistent, definitely you need a memory to remember the information. Response pattern not required. Latency, definitely lower. Response pattern is faster. Cost higher. Complexity, debugging, scaling, whatever the business KPIs, right? All are actually being categorized, and who is performing well. So you can keep this matrix to decide your use case. Okay, which one will be fit for your use case. Multi-agent system, ideal. Just say for example KYC. KYC is a multi-agent system. Loan approval, multi-agent system, right? And say for example uh, okay, so if it is a frequently asked question, policies, research, then response pattern is better. That we discussed in the day 4 also. Sorry, in day 4, right? So persistent, it is a user API. Now we are doing it from the Swagger. We are creating agent ID, then the thread, then the business tool if required. If not required, then also you can directly call the persistent AI agent. That covered in the day 2 and day 3. A response, no memory, no thread, simply prompt calling the AI interference, that reference that we discussed on the day 4, and call the LLM. So cost is very important. See, whenever you are deploying anything or design anything, so definitely you have to take care of the cost. Finance is the very important tool. Any project, the KPIs depends on people, quality, project, and the finance. So finance is one of the part. Persistent is always very costly, but for e-commerce and everything, definitely you have to go with the persistent because you have to remember things. For response pattern, cheaper because it is no memory, no thread, on the fly, prompt only. Scaling, persistent definitely challenges session. Okay, so scaling we discuss what? Session aware, easy horizontal. Session management, state persistent, you can use. Response, stateless, load balancing, horizontal scaling. Failure mode, persistent, maybe state memory, thread leakage, wrong business context. These are the areas for failure. Response failure, forgetfulness, repetitive user context, poor multi-run UX. Decision tree. You want to continue the conversation. Say for example in Amazon, right? You are doing a conversation on your orders. You want to keep the session. Then persistence is better. Transactional workflow where you are sending money or anything, right? Persistent. But you want cheap, high response API, then response pattern is better. FAQ, response pattern, multi-agent like KYC, persistent. So there are some few use cases like chatbot, FAQ, KYC, product, refund, email. You can see that Copilot inside CRM, persistent, email summarizer, persistent, sorry, response, refund workflow. So this is just a given glimpse like how where you can use that. So demo scenario, we will just show that what is a return policy. It will give you the data. Persistent memory for if it is a persistent, it will remember the data. But if it is non-persistent, then it will again ask what is your name. And even if you are making persistent but not using the thread, there also, or you are changing the thread, then also you will can't remember. So without thread, even though you are using the persistent SDK of the Microsoft AI agent, but not using the thread, then it will start behaving like almost like a response pattern, or you can say not response, stateless. Response pattern has its own way of doing things, but if you don't use the thread, you forget, or maybe you are not leveraging that. Even though using the AI persistent SDK, ultimately cannot remember because without thread, how it can remember, right? The context, order number and everything, right? This problem happens in the Zomato, Swaggy, e-commerce site like Amazon, where the order delay and everything you need to know, right? Your order status and everything. You need a persistent model. Even some refund also. So hope you understand the difference and where, when, how to use persistent and response. If you understand the concept, you can apply, you can read more in your as per project requirement. So let's go to the demo. Day 5 have the same solution. Only difference is here we are using both because we are doing compare, right? So what we have done, we have actually created a program.cs compare. We are taking persistent also, response agent. So what exactly we are doing in the response agent, let me show you. So compare service, this is the persistent call. We are calculating the time for latency purpose. Another one is a response pattern, and we have taken both AI persistent and AI inference. This AI inference is for response pattern, AI agent.persistent is for persistent pattern. But if you are using persistent pattern and without thread, it may forget and start working like a stateless. So these two, and this is for authentication purpose, Azure identity, without which it cannot be able to connect to the Azure Cloud Foundry because we are using the hosted agents. Let me check the app setting. So we have combined day 2 and day 4. Endpoint, this has been used for the day 2, persistent, along with the API, along with the agent ID, because agent ID, thread, I think you remember, and model is definitely there. And for response pattern, we are using inference point along with the model. So this combination actually all together we placed over here. So comparison service we already called, and it is individual call. It will create message. So all are actually part of the AI persistent. This is already discussed in the day 2 also. Same thing, nothing different. And here also the same thing we copied from the day 4. But only difference is We have a stopwatch to check as well as the response. So say for example, I will show you one thing. Suppose I will check the refund policy. The refund policy is already given, right? And that we are passing as a data to the response pattern. But if I ask the same question for agent service, it will directly come the question where we haven't given any prompt or prompt, right? And here you remember, actually I have to use a thread which will exist, but in this code we are creating thread multiple times. So when you code, you remember this thread we need to use same for a single purpose, right? We should not create, suppose say for example my order number is xyz and you are creating this thread, again you are creating what is my order number, then again in a new thread will come, right? So remember this line even I have used, but you have to follow the day 2. Here only we are trying to focus the latency and the how we can compare those two things. But individually, if you want to understand the AI agent persistent and response, please visit day 2 and day 4. So let me run it then. See, first it will hit over here. Same code like day 2. Now we are going to the response pattern, but we have given a definite, the information as a prompt. It is a prompt. We can give a prompt to the persistent agent also, but we haven't given any prompt. But here you will understand the latency part also, like how which one is taking more time. See, overall, as I discuss, the latency is slower and this is faster, right? So it take less time. And we have, since we have given a prompt, we are getting. But if you give the prompt here also, you will get it. Since we haven't given any prompt, we are asking a refund policy. It doesn't know the context, right? So that's the reason it give a hallucinated data. But that you can overcome by giving a prompt properly. So that we have already shown in the day 2. But only the important part need to be observed, the persistent style time. It take time, but it will persist. But the second one is, it is a simple response pattern where the time is less. So it is cost effective. This is good actually. In practicality, you should refund policy general purpose, you should use response pattern only. And these things we already discussed where to use. Hope these two patterns is clear. Read it more in detail. Thank you so much.